Welcome to Meliora's channel, your go-to place for C# and data analysis tutorials, products hands-on demos, and insider secrets to keep you at the cutting edge of innovation. Our goal is to break down complex tech topics to a level that you will easily understand to supercharge your skills. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
In this lecture, we're going to look at subqueries in SQL. So, what exactly is a subquery? Well, simply put, subqueries are queries within queries. So these are queries nested within other queries, like that. So you have the little subquery within a larger query. And one very important thing to note about subqueries is that the innermost query will run to completion first, then the outside query runs. So we're now going to take a look at an example use case with the where clause. So let's take this SQL query, for instance, and let's walk through it step by step. So first, we have a select all from the employee data table, and where the date of birth is equal to open parentheses, select minimum DOB from employee data, close parentheses, and then we now have our semicolon at the end. So now the subquery here is the query encased in parentheses. So it's the select minimum DOB from employee data. Let's go ahead and expand exactly what's going on in that subquery, particularly with the minimum function and what's going to happen when this subquery runs to completion. So we have our table. ID, first name, last name, date of birth, department code, sex, and salary. And we now have in the query the minimum function, which is going to find the minimum value in an array. So we're trying to get the minimum DOB. So it means that we are passing the whole date of birth column into that function. And what we want is for it to output the minimum date value, which in this case is 1972 on the 31st of July. And when it outputs that value, it then gets passed because that means that the inner query has run to completion and that is the value we have gotten. And this value is now passed into the outer query, which is to select all from employee data where DOB is equal to. And that's now going to pass there. And now we are going to have that minimum date reading. And then this whole query will run. And then now it's saying where DOB is equal to that date value that we got. Effectively, we are now finding all the information for the oldest staff in the company. And when we run this, what we get is Alice James. So we see the DOB there, 1972, and we can also see the ID associated with that staff. So using the MySQL workbench, let's go ahead and set our database for our query, and then let's go ahead and run that. And like slides, that's what we get. So we get Alice James as she is the oldest current staff in the database. Moving on, let's see how we can also use subqueries in the from clause. So let's take the following query, for example. Let's step through. It says to select max function open parentheses, f underscore emp dot salary, close parentheses, from, open parentheses, select all from employee data where sex is equal to f, close parentheses, and then f underscore emp. Okay, so we can see the subquery in this query, which is the query encased in parentheses there. And now I also want you to notice the f underscore emp used in this query. So this is the table alias. So when you are using, when you want to name your results, when you're within the select clause, for example, if I wanted to name this max, open parentheses, femp dot salary as something else, I would use the as to create an alias for the results there. But in the from clause, when you want to use table aliases, you just give a space after the table name, or in this case, the subquery to create the table we're going to query from, and then you give a name, which is what we've done here. Okay, so let's further step through. So that is our subquery, select all from employee data where sex is equal to f. This is going to output the table where only female employees are, and it's going to give it the name f underscore emp. So that is it for the subquery portion. Now that we've gotten this our table array output and we've named it, it's now going to be passed to be queried by the outer query, which is trying to select the max salary from this particular table that we have just created using the subquery. So that's so the max salary is now going to take that whole salary column that we've returned from the subquery, and then we're now going to pass that whole array into the function max, which is going to find the maximum number among those array of numbers, and it's going to find the maximum, which in this case is 90,000. And that's what it's going to output. Because we're not returning all or any other columns apart from this now becomes our results for that query. Here we are in the workbench, and this is the query that we just stepped through. And if we now go ahead and run that, you see that what we get is 90,000, and then it just carries that name. Okay, and that brings us to the end of this video on subqueries. If you liked the lecture, then please make sure to follow for more. And thank you very much for sitting through. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you for watching, and if you learned something new or enjoyed this video, be sure to show us support by clicking like and subscribe. Your support helps us to bring you even better content, so stay tuned for the next exciting video. You can also click the link below to see other free and paid videos on other exciting topics. If the click did not work, kindly copy the link and paste on your browser. Thank you, and see you in the next video.